What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, okay? It is the 14th day of June. Here we are with about 9.5 hours left in the day at about $105,000. We were expecting that we'd pull back a little bit today, right? And I think I did say, if I remember correctly, right below 105K was the target area, and that's exactly what we've done here. From a low to a high, the reason why we expected it just below 105K is that the 382 right here is, well, just below 105K. It's very, very common to pull back, wick below the 382 and close above it. The fact that we're crowding this area and we keep testing it does have me a little concerned that we could go lower. And if we do, that's okay. But I think it would be best if today and tomorrow could close green, if we could get these days to come up, because if we do, the week will close green, and that's a very vital, I think, piece of this puzzle here, because the closer we are to getting to this overbought zone, the closer we are to that next phase up in the bull cycle, right? Getting overbought on the weekly time frame throughout this whole cycle, throughout every cycle, really, is oftentimes associated with that next leg up, with some fantastic rally that doesn't just happen for Bitcoin, but that does happen for the rest of crypto as well. So hopefully over the next 1 day and 10 hours, 9.5 hours, we can move up at least 0.69%. That's what we're down right now on this week, and I think that we'll be able to. I want to look at the short-term time frames, and then we'll zoom back out and look at this a little bit more in depth, but I want to look at the 1 hour time frame real quick, 15-minute time frame even. Let's start there real quick. Hold on. 15-minute time frame. Take it or leave it. I want to say I'm bullish on it, though. I want to say I'm bullish on it. The 15-minute RSI does look kind of bearish, but the thing is, you didn't really do much with your bearish readings. You didn't really do much. You've pulled back. You're finding support at prior support here, kind of. You're right at that relative 382, right, from a low to a high. You're just right there. Let's look at something with volume on it. Let's go to Coinbase. Not a whole lot of volume, but it's the weekend. It's going to be boring. Of course it's going to be boring. You do look like you're kind of on a path higher now. You've got higher lows and higher highs, right? Let's just see. Do you have hidden bearish divergence? You do have hidden bearish divergence, so perhaps you do come back down a little bit over the next 15-minute, like 30-minute, hour, whatever. You know, this 15-minute time frame moves pretty fast, but I'm not completely convinced that we have lower to go. We'll see. I mean, lower from here, sure, but lower than this low, if at all, maybe. 1 hour time frame does look bearish. Actually, the 1 hour time frame does look bearish, and this would indicate that we have lower to go. So if we are going lower, low to high, if we are going lower, then 104 to 103.1 thousand dollars would be the target area, something like that. I'm thinking something around 104 to 103.8K would make sense if we are to go lower. But if we are to go lower, if we're to do something like that, I would think that the rest of the day, Saturday, we do move down, and then we'd have to rely on tomorrow, Sunday, the last day of the week, the 15th there. We'd have to rely on that to not just come back up to these prices, but to move up that extra 0.69%, right, to close this week green. It's okay if it closes red. It's not like it's a problem if the week closes red, but it would just be better if it closes green. The closer we inch to this overbought zone on the weekly RSI, the closer we are to glory and riches, right? 4 hour time frame here, looking at this, you got a little bit oversold on the 4 hour RSI, just a little bit, and you rejected that, came back up. You did go above the 40, but now you're back below the 40. That's kind of concerning. I would say that the 4 hour RSI also looks bearish, right? So 15-minute time frame, not really too bearish or bullish, not enough to deduce. 1 hour, 4 hour time frames both look bearish. All we can hope for at this point in time is that we do hold the 382 as support from this low to a high. Oh wait, no, that's not that low to high. I'm sorry. Was it this one? Is that what it was? Yeah. From this low to high. If we can hold this as support and then get back above $105,500, if we can move up a whole $500 from here, I think that would reverse all these bearish looks that we have on the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame. As long as we hold this 382, if we can break above 105.4K, but I'm just gonna raise it a little bit, 105.5K. As long as we can break above there, because you could wick above the 236 a little bit and still reject down. You know what I mean? So if you get to 105.5, it's just that little bit extra might be more convincing. So let's just say 105.5K, get above that 236, and that would convince me that the 1 hour and the 4 hour, I'm just reading them wrong, and that we actually have higher prices to go. Sometimes you meander, sometimes you do. I mean, here you bounced, you went above the 40, you went back below the 40. It was debatable if that was bearish or not at the moment, you know, and I might have thought the exact same thing I'm thinking now, but then you continued to grow. Inevitably, you did drop, but that's not the point, right? We want, I mean, if you drop, whatever. I want this week to close green. You could start off next week going down a little bit, as long as we come back up and close the next week green. Every green week we get is a closer step to getting into that overbought zone, and that's a very vital part of this puzzle here. But I do think the 4-hour and the 1-hour look like they want to go down. Beyond just having hope that it doesn't happen, I would say that at this point in time, I would expect 104 to 103.8K is the target area. So we'll probably go a little bit lower than I originally intended that we would go. We're not getting the reaction. That's another thing, man. We're not really getting the reaction off this 382 that you would typically find with support. You don't normally grind it out like this. If you find support at the 382, you do it like at most, like maybe for a couple of times. You don't do it this long, like on the 1-hour time frame, on the 15-minute time frame, and these are more relevant to this because this is such a small fib here, right? If you're on the daily time frame, this isn't, you wouldn't draw a fib like that, right? So here it kind of looks good, but that's not the full story. 4-hour time frame, 1-hour time frame, these are painting a better picture, and it's just telling us that we're probably not ready to bounce here. So if we're not ready to bounce, the lower we go. Best case scenario, maybe we go to 104.5K and then bounce, but I'm thinking we do go to 104 or lower. Hopefully we don't go below 103. If we go below 103K, then we're at jeopardy of not just taking out this low, but going down to 95K, 96K, that area there. Remember, we're not completely absolved of that. I do believe we found our low. I'm standing by it. I think that this is our low. I think that this is a higher low here. I'm standing by it, but the lower we go from here, the closer we approach this low, the more in jeopardy we are of going all the way down to this 382 and bouncing there, which is at 95.8K. And with the 382, you can wick just below it, so we could even go down to like 94K, who knows. You could stop just above it, but that's a lot less common. Most of the time you actually do either hit it directly or go just through it and then close up above it on that same day. So if we want to avoid this, if you want to avoid a drop that consists of Bitcoin going down about 9%, which would then imply that altcoins are going to drop probably roughly 20% or so or more over the coming week. If we want to avoid a week of negative or multiple weeks of negative, we should hope that we can reverse here, that we can start climbing higher, and ideally, again, get this week to close up, to close green and just inch closer to this overbought zone, right? If it closes red, again, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going down. It's not a bad thing to close red. It's just a good thing to close green, right? And we want good things. Yeah, a lot of volatility here, man. A lot of volatility. Crazy. It would be actually pretty crazy to close this week like this. Not too crazy. I mean, we've seen stuff like this happen before, but just to get a bullish candle like that one week and then a bearish candle like this to answer, just showing some indecision at the top like this, that would really make me think that we are going down. Indecision candles when you're at the top are bearish. Indecision candles when you're at the bottom are bullish, right? If you're making a move, you don't want indecision. You know, indecision tends to mean the move is over. Tends to. Doesn't mean it is, but tends to. Let's see. I mean, here we showed some indecision candles, and we still went higher. You know, it's not a perfect science. Those aren't indecision candles. Those are just bearish candles. Kind of indecisive here. We were at the relative high. It's not a perfect science, but that's just kind of the idea there. You know what I mean? Anyways, here we are. Weekly RSI, rejecting the overbought zone. Typically, whenever you see this, you actually would expect that you go down to the 50. If we were to go down to the 50, I think that we would go probably a lot lower than 95K. I mean, something like that, you guys would take us back down to these lows or even below 90K. So hopefully we can absolve ourselves of that, get this week to close green, start to point this RSI in the up direction, get back into that overbought zone, do something that's kind of uncommon, which is to find support above the 50, above the 60, or even at the 60 before we go lower. Here, you did that uncommon thing. You rejected the overbought zone and you didn't find support on the 50. You still came back up. But hopefully we don't go this low. If we were to go this low, we definitely would be breaking below like 95K, 96K, something like that. So the closer that we get to this overbought zone, the better off we are. I don't really know what else to say, so I'll probably just end the video there. If you guys liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. And I'll see you on the next one. The goal this week, again, is to close above 106K, essentially. We want to close at 106K or higher. Doesn't matter so much what we do over the coming hours, but it does matter what we do over the next like couple of days, or the next day and a half, I should say. Um, we could go down. We could go down to about 104K right now and then bounce, and by the end of the day we're on the way up, and then on Sunday we're on the way up. But it depends on what happens here. Hopefully we'll have a better idea by the time this day ends, and I'll make a video then. All right, take care, guys. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.